1. When mentoring junior engineers preparing for the Associate Systems Engineering Professional ASEP test, which adult learning principle should be emphasized to maximize retention? A. Passive listening with minimal interaction. B. Repetitive rote memorization techniques. C. Active engagement through real-world scenarios. D. Isolated study without feedback. 2. A training module on requirements management for ASEP candidates should best align with which curriculum development principle? A. Focus only on memorizing terminology. B. Integrate theory with practical exercises. C. Prioritize breadth of content over depth. D. Remove all formative assessments. 3. During a peer learning session for ASEP preparation, which communication strategy is most effective for reinforcing complex systems engineering concepts? A. Delivering lengthy lectures without breaks. B. Using jargon-heavy explanations exclusively. C. Encouraging interactive questioning and dialogue. D. Limiting discussion to one-way instructor delivery. Or, which evaluation method best measures a candidate's ability to apply systems engineering lifecycle concepts in the ASEP test context? A. Multiple choice knowledge recall questions. B. Performance-based scenario assessments. C. True-false quizzes on definitions. D. Short answer recall of acronyms. 5. In developing ASEP preparatory materials, which mentoring technique ensures candidates can apply regulatory standards effectively? A. Provide only the regulatory text without context. B. Create practice exercises with compliance-based scenarios. C. Advise students to ignore regulatory frameworks for speed. D. Use outdated case studies that reduce complexity. 6. Which principle of adult learning is most violated when ASEP test preparation ignores the learner's prior engineering experience? A. Self-direction. B. Relevance. C. Autonomy. D. Contextual learning. 7. When evaluating ASEP candidates' performance, formative assessments are primarily used to: A. Assign final certification scores. B. Provide ongoing feedback for improvement. C. Eliminate learners who underperform. D. Replace the need for summative testing. 8. A systems engineering training program that prioritizes collaborative group projects over individual memorization reflects which adult learning approach? A. Behaviorism. E. Constructivism. C. Essentialism. D. Positivism. 9. Which communication barrier is most detrimental when guiding ASEP candidates through systems modeling concepts? A. Using visual aids to simplify diagrams. B. Providing real-world analogies. C. Overloading learners with technical jargon. D. Checking for understanding regularly. 10. To comply with best practices in curriculum development, ASEP preparatory materials should: A. Align with INCOSE knowledge areas. B. Exclude practical exercises for efficiency. C. Focus only on memorizing test questions. D. Avoid regulatory compliance consideration. 11. Which mentoring strategy is most effective in building confidence among ASEP candidates struggling with life cycle processes? A. Criticize mistakes without offering solutions. B. Provide guided practice with constructive feedback. C. Reduce practice time to avoid discouragement. D. Assign only independent reading without support. 12. A post-training survey asking ASEP candidates to reflect on the effectiveness of instructional strategies is an example of: A. Diagnostic evaluation. B. Formative evaluation. C. Summative evaluation. D. Peer evaluation. 13. When preparing candidates for regulatory compliance topics in the ASEP test, which instructional strategy ensures deep understanding? A. Present compliance frameworks as isolated facts. B. Use role-play scenarios that simulate compliance decisions. C. Rely on memorization of regulatory acronyms. D. Provide no feedback on compliance exercises. 14. Which adult learning principle explains why ASEP candidates benefit from applying systems engineering concepts to their own professional contexts? A. Readiness to learn. B. Rote memorization. C. Instructor dependency. D. Passive absorption. 15. Which of the following best represents a summative evaluation for ASEP preparation? A. Final mock exam simulating test conditions. B. Daily practice quizzes with feedback. C. Instructor-led group discussion mid-course. D. Peer-to-peer mentoring session. 16. When designing ASEP training, ensuring that each module builds on the last reflects which curriculum development principle? A. Spiral sequencing. E. Randomized delivery. C. Isolated unit design. D. Fragmented knowledge blocks. 17. A mentor uses guided questioning to help ASEP candidates uncover solutions independently. This aligns with which mentoring technique? A. Directive coaching. B. Facilitative mentoring. C. Authoritarian instruction. D. Memorization-based training. 18. Which evaluation method provides ASEP instructors with the most data on learners' strengths and weaknesses throughout the course? A. Summative evaluation only. B. Continuous formative assessments. C. End-of-course feedback surveys. D. Regulatory compliance audits. 19. A candidate preparing for the ASEP test asks why they need to study verification versus validation. Which adult learning principle should guide the instructor's response? Adults require content to be relevant to real-world problems. E. Adults learn best through isolated theoretical concepts. C. Adults prefer instructor-led rote learning. D. Adults thrive when denied context for efficiency. 20. To ensure communication effectiveness during ASEP preparation, an instructor should incorporate diverse teaching media, including diagrams and case studies. B. Speak rapidly to cover maximum content. C. Eliminate opportunities for learner questions. D. Avoid adapting explanations to learner backgrounds. 21. Which mentoring practice best promotes reflective learning among ASEP candidates? A. Encouraging learners to journal their problem-solving strategies. B. Assigning repetitive memorization drills. C. Discouraging discussion of mistakes. D. Providing only answer keys without explanations. 22. When revising ASEP curriculum, including updated case studies on current regulatory changes supports. A. Learner irrelevance. B. Ongoing compliance and curriculum currency. C. Outdated instructional design. D. Passive recall. 23. Which adult learning principle is reinforced by using practice exams that simulate the actual ASEP test environment? A. Experiential learning. B. Passive memorization. C. Dependence on authority. D. Rote repetition. 24. When ASEP candidates collaboratively evaluate one another's project designs, this is an example of A. Summative assessment. B. Peer evaluation. C. Regulatory compliance. D. Autocratic mentoring. 25. Which strategy would most effectively evaluate whether ASEP candidates can apply system lifecycle knowledge in practice? A. Multiple choice factual recall. B. Case-based scenario analysis. C. Matching definitions with terms. D. True-false compliance checks. 26. During ASEP training, a candidate who learns best through hands-on modeling benefits most from A. Auditory lectures alone. B. Practical exercises with system diagrams. C. Reading-only assignments. D. Memorization of glossary terms. 27. In ASEP mentoring, providing constructive critique after project presentations supports which adult learning principle? A. Immediate feedback for growth. B. Delayed assessment without discussion. C. Passive reception of knowledge. D. Ignoring learner performance gaps. 28. Which element of communication is most critical when explaining ASEP system architecture concepts to diverse learners? A. Clarity and simplification of complex terms. B. Exclusive reliance on technical manuals. C. Rapid delivery without checks for understanding. D. Avoidance of learner interaction. 29. Curriculum developers designing ASEP practice tests should prioritize A. Alignment with INCOSE competency framework. B. Exclusion of applied problem solving. C. Focus solely on memory recall items. D. Reducing learner interaction. 30. Which evaluation tool best balances reliability and validity for ASEP preparation programs? A. Standardized mock exams with performance rubrics. B. Informal learner feedback only. C. True-false quizzes without context. D. Isolated regulatory drills.